Hi there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching this video. We're going to be doing lesson 47 from Saxon's Algebra 1/2 3rd edition book. And this lesson is going to be about percents. And in the past we've worked on problems about fractional parts and decimal parts of a number by using one of the following equations. F, what fraction times of equals is, or what decimal of and equals is. So the percent equation is going to be setting up the same way, except that in a percent the fraction always has a denominator of 100. Why is that? Well, centum is the Latin word for 100, so percent literally means by the 100. So that denominator is always going to be 100 in a percent. So the percent equation is what percent of 100 times of equals is. Or we could also write that as what percent of 100 equals is divided by of. I know that sounds confusing and a little wordy, so I think the best way to teach you this is just to do some problems together. So let's do that. Alright, so this problem says 20% of what number is 15? Alright, so I've worked this for you. Let's work it out step by step. I started with 20% of what number is 15. Alright, and I know to get n by itself, I'm going to have to invert and multiply, because this was multiplication, and to undo multiplication you have to do division, and to divide a fraction you have to invert and multiply. So I invert and multiply here, and I also invert and multiply here. I can make that 15 into a fraction by putting a 1 underneath it. Then I can cross cancel. These all cross cancel each other out, which is what I wanted, leaving n by itself. But here 15 and 20 both share a common denominator of 5, and 5 will go into 20 4 times, and it will go into 15 3 times. I could also further do this by saying 104. We could reduce 104 dividing by 2, and we would have 50 over 2, and we could reduce that by saying 25 over 1. So either way, if we say 3 times 100 and multiply straight across, we're going to get 300 divided by 4, which is 75. If we said, if we reduce this to 25, 3 times 25 is again 75. Alright, this problem says what percent of 140 is 98. So if you pay careful attention to the wording in the problems, what percent per 100 of 140 is 98? Alright, well, the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this 140. It's been multiplied by x, so I'm going to divide both sides by 140. And then that's going to get me p over 100 by itself equals 7 times 100, because I just simply reduced here. And when I multiply both sides by 100, I'm sorry, it was 0.7. When I reduced it, it came out to 0.7. When I multiply both sides by 100, 0.7 times 100, we move the decimal 2 places to the right, and that equals 70. So 70 is 140% of 98. Alright, let's do number 3. 15% of 300 is what number? Now in this one we have the variable by itself already, n. So we just set up the rest. 15%, 15 per 100 of 300 is what number? Alright, and I can easily cross cancel and reduce here by 100, that can become a 1 and that a 3. And then I multiply 15 times 3 and I get 45. So 15% of 300 is 45. All right, now sometimes we're going to have a percent greater than 100. When would that ever happen? Well, when you're a retailer, you buy products at wholesale cost, and then you do what they call markup, and you charge more for them than you paid. So you're going to mark them up more than the 100% that you paid. So that's a percentage increase. Alright, so when a problem discusses a quantity that increases, the final quantity is greater than the beginning quantity. So if the beginning quantity represents 100%, the final percent will be greater than 100. So let's work a problem where this is going to be the case. What number is 160% of 60? Alright, n is by itself. What number is 160%, 160 over 100 of is times 60. Alright, now in this one, I chose, there's several ways you could do it. I crossed out these two zeros here, and I had 16 over 10. And I crossed out this 0 and this 0, which simply gave me 16 times 6, which is 96. So 96 is 160% of 60. Okay, so let's set this one up. If 75 is increased by 150%, what is the result? That's n. Alright, so I can literally say 75 times 100 divided by, times 150 divided by 100, or I could try to reduce some things here. That's actually what I'm going to try. I can take these two zeros off, and then I have 15 over 10, which will reduce to 3 over 2 if I divide by 5. So then I say 75 times 3, which is 225, divided by 2. And when I do that, I'm going to get 112.5, which is the answer. 112 and a half, or 0.5, is 150% of 75. Okay, and then this one, what percent of 90 is 306? Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this 90, and it's been multiplied, so I'm going to divide by 90, and that cross cancels out. I'm going to have to divide over here by 90, and then I'm going to take, I want p by itself, so I need to get rid of this 100, so I'm going to multiply by 100 on both sides. When I do that, 306 becomes 30,600, and then I have over 90. When you divide that, you get 340. So 340, and that shouldn't say percent there. Actually, it should just be left alone. 340 is 306 is 340% of 90. I'm sorry. 306 is 340% of 90. That's how we would say it. Alright, let's do our practice problem. Alright, 20%, that's going to be 20 over 100, of what number is 800? Alright, now I'm going to invert and multiply over here. So I'm going to have to do that very same thing over here. Now I know that I can reduce, this will all cross cancel out, which is good, leaving n by itself. But I know right here I can do, oh, this was 20. 100 divided by 20 is 5. So I can cross all this out and say 5. and then all I need to do is say 800 times 5, which is 4,000. 800 is 20% of 4,000. All right, in B, what number is 18%? And I'm going to write that 18 hundredths of 360. All right, so here I'm just going to do the math. If I take off one 0 in each one of those, then I've got 18 over 10 times 36, and 18 over 10 could be reduced if I multiply by 2. 2 goes into 18 9 times, and into 10 5 times. So then I would say 36 times 9 divided by 5. So what is that? 36. Well, 36 times 10, here's some mental math for you, would be 360. And 360 minus 36 would be 324. And 324 divided by 5, 5 goes into 32 6 times, and that's 30. 24, it will go 4 times, and that's 20, and subtract, and that's going to leave me 4. If I put decimal 0, that will go 8. So 64.8 is 18% of 360. 64.8 would be my number. All right, C is one of those percent increases. What number is 270% of 80? And here I'm just going to cross cancel by 20. This would make 20 goes into 80 4 times, and into 100 5 times. So I can either do 270 times 4 divided by 5, or I can go ahead and divide 270 by 5, which might be easier. 270, because I know it will be divisible by 5 because it ends in 0. 25. So that would be 54, and then 54 times 4 equals 54 times 4, 16, 21. 216 would be the answer to that. And finally, if 20 is increased by 90%, what is the result? Alright, right here, I'm going to do some cross canceling. I'm going to make this a 1 and this a 5. And so I've got 1 over 1 here, so that cancels out. And then I'm going to have 90 divided by 5. 5 goes into 9 one time. That's 5. 40. The result is 18. 18 is my answer. Good job. See you tomorrow.